And we're back again. Hello, I'm Kevin.
I'm Jimmy.
We're going to try this for the third time tonight. Okay, you know what? Hell with the theme song. We already played
Well,
that
you got to
twice.
work. You got to work through the kinks, man. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay, we're back again, and we're going to try this crap one more time. And I forgot what we talked about the first time, so what did we talk about?
We were talking about the conventions and which ones are that I like the best and everything. So basically, I was saying I like Days of the Dead because it was more or less structured, smaller, and I liked Atlanta Comic Con because they only kept five, you know, five people at a time, as far as talent goes,
Yeah.
and you were able to actually go through and pick who you wanted without those long lines of Walker Stalker. And what I was saying was, with the vendors, they actually could make money from that instead of being overwhelmed with all this money flowing back and forth with autographs and pictures.
Yeah.
They actually could make money too.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, that's just like Days of the Dead is like a totally different atmosphere. It's more relaxed. There's people not rushing around. It feels like it's just a better organized con than.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt.
And yeah, go ahead.
I mean, to me, it's more or less you walk up to the table and not have to worry about other people breathing down your neck, and it's not. I don't feel like cattle. You know how they graze you through there at Walker Stalker. I don't feel like it.
That's true. That's a good point there. It's like you're just a bunch of cattle. They're gonna rush you through. You don't get like Days of the Dead. You get personal connection with the celebrities there, and Walker Stalker's like, oh, here, what's your name? Here, take it, go next.
Well, it's what we envisioned Walker Stalker to be when we actually donated money for the first time. That's because we wanted that personal stuff, and what we got was a little bit more we could chew off. I remember when actually we donated a little bit of money to get that started. So whenever we did that, me and Marlene we didn't take much money. I think it was like $60.
Yeah.
And we went over there and we donated that little bit of money, and there was supposed to be this big placard and stuff thanking all those people that donated and got a Kickstarter going. And never seen that placard. Never really got a thank you anymore after that. It was more or less, hey, we got Norman Reedus because we booked him because we spent the money. Yeah. Not that, hey, y'all sent us the money to get Norman Reedus. It wasn't like that. It was like kiss our ass now. That's basically what I got from it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I remember during the first Walker Stalker Con, it was more the people, like the core group. They were more worried about what they were getting than they didn't care about anything else. I even saw your buddy. Everybody's talking about the man, the legend, the thief himself, in line getting autographs while he should be running the con. And
well, there is a story there, and Marlene would have to tell you a little more because I wasn't back there. I didn't actually see it with my own two eyes, but Marlene was pretty upset. Remember I was telling you on the second episode where I got cussed out and stuff?
Yeah.
The reason why that was when I was running that line, James stopped the line. I mean, he just stopped it. And that line was stopped for about 2 hours.
What?
The reason why, he stopped it. And the reason why he stopped it was he brought his kids in, which were 4 and 5 years old at the time, to meet Andrew Lincoln. So that's what you got. You had all these people paying all these hundreds of dollars to get his autograph and take pictures with him. And James brought his kids in to hang out and have a meet and greet alone with them.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah. That's what happened.
So I really take it that asshole put this whole convention on just for himself so he could meet everybody.
Well, I mean, I remember they were, all right, Dustin likes to, ream my ass about the premiere party for season 4. What the truth was, I mean, I didn't invite Dustin because I didn't trust a whole lot of people, and I still don't. I mean, it took a lot for me to trust anybody because the way Walking Dead was.
Yeah.
And James actually said this to me one time. We were cleaning up chairs from that night, and he looked at me. He said, I can call Scott Wilson if I want to. He said, I got his phone number. I'm like, I don't really give a shit. I was like, just put the chairs away. I was like, that's all I was worried about. Because I had to go to, I still had to work the next day. And that's, that was my job, what I was doing that night. I was working for him.
Yeah.
James ended up paying me. I'll be honest with you. James paid me $19 an hour to work that night
Wow.
because he had to pay me my salary from the school
Yeah.
plus extra $9 an hour.
Yeah.
So no matter what I did that night, I still got paid $19 an hour.
Wow.
So he told me put the chairs away. The things got put away real slowly.
One at a time.
I got there that afternoon and he goes, "You want to take the tour with us?" I said, "Dude, I'm on the clock. So I'm doing whatever you tell me to do. Yeah. I'm not working for the school right now. I'm working for you. I'm on your dime. So if you want me to go take a tour instead of working for you right now, I will do that." And he looked at me. He said, "No, let's just get the chairs up." I didn't think about that. I'm like, "Well, I'm just trying to be upfront and honest with you, and I'm not trying to, bust your balls here." I said, "But I need to." I said, "If you want me to, I'll clean up all the bathrooms because I was a janitor." I said, "I'll make sure everything's stocked." And he said, "Okay." He said, "What all can we look at in the school?" I said, "Well, you have the gymnasium. That's what you rented." So remember where Shane and Otis got locked in the gym? Remember that?
Yeah.
They were stuck in the banister. Shane jumped out the window. That's where they were. Okay. So I was letting everybody go in there, go out of there, and everything. So Casey Flores, I don't know if you know who that is or not, but he was making he's an awesome guy, man. So he was, at that time, that Walker was worth a lot of money to have the rights to it.
Yeah.
And I don't think they wanted to give Travis that because you had the DVD Blu-ray case at the time. You had toys. You had a lot of stuff. And it wasn't like Well Walker. Well Walker had one toy, one Funko Pop. RV Walker was everywhere. I mean, he was the biggest and baddest Walker of the show. And you look at Travis and that ain't what he was. Yeah. I'm just saying he's a great guy, but I
know what you're saying on that.
All get out. Yeah, he is all get out, man. But I remember him telling a story about, this is my own story. I'll tell this one. We were at Walker Stalker, and Travis and his parents were hanging out with us. And me and Marlene and Travis and his parents had this big idea of getting together and getting this picture done with him and Lori Holden where she smashed him in the face with a screwdriver.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. We actually went in there and recreated that picture with all of us in it. It was pretty sweet, man. But that whole thing, man, from the start, I mean, it was supposed to be this fan-started, fan-made thing that we were all a part of.
Yeah.
And it became a James show. That's what it was. It became a, hey, look at me type deal.
Now, when you and Marlene, your ex-wife, when you guys started doing, you guys started taking like some of the walkers around doing autograph sessions and stuff, I heard the story that some of the walkers had problems with the photos. That AMC was pissed about some of the photos they were using, and they had to be cleared. And
all I can tell you is Marlene dealt with that. She used to call AMC herself if they needed help with it. I know she tried to help Travis, but I really don't know the story behind it. But I know they would have to get a hold of some lady at the studio to release those pictures.
Yeah.
And usually if they released the pictures, the show would no longer use them. It was one of them things where, hey, we'll give you this, but we're no longer going to use you in the show.
Oh, okay. That's how they kind of did it?
Yeah, that way they wouldn't have to pay you any longer. Oh. So like if you look, remember Kevin Galbraith when I was talking about before?
Yeah.
That's why you really didn't see him with headshots and stuff. You didn't see him sign autographs. Yeah. Hey, that's why he was on the show to this day. I mean, that's part of the reason why. And now you have like Jose and a couple other, Whispers and Walkers that kind of do the same thing. You don't see Jose. He's got this little card that he signs now, but that was made by a fan. It wasn't made by the studio. Oh, okay. And I don't even know if I really don't know how the licensing worked. I know how it worked back in 2013 to 2015. I know that. Yeah. But past that date, I don't know. Keep in mind, when I left, I was out of this for 2 years. Yeah. I'm coming back, and everything's new to me. And the fans are totally different. And I'm in them, but there again, because what Mark's group had did to me, I'm always hesitant. And what I mean by hesitant is I'm always a little skittish and scared to go out into big crowds of Walking Dead fans still to this day.
Oh, I don't blame you one bit there.
I mean, you know as well as I do that them people, they threatened to cut me and everything back in the day.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, getting in those fans. I mean, I can go along that story one day if you want me to. I can do it right now if you
It's
want.
up to you. You can do
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Well, I mean, um, well, my whole thing is when Mark first started. I know Lisa was a part of those guys and everything, but I don't think the good people in Mark's group know what was going on. Marlene had posted a picture of this Walker Stalker bracelet that Mark used to sell.
Yeah.
So getting back in that story, Mark would honestly he would sell these bracelets and tell people they could not meet anybody unless they had them.
Yeah.
And I used to walk through the crowd and was like, "Hey, let me go in here with y'all." And they look at me and said, "You don't have a bracelet, you can't come in here." And I'm like, "Who the hell told you that shit?" And they were like, "Well, Mark said that." I said, "Mark, tell him to kiss my ass." And I'd walk on through the crowd. And I was like, "Mark's feeding y'all a line of bullshit." And I would get my autograph or whatever and walk out of there, and they would get all pissed because they had bought a $20 bracelet or a $10 bracelet, how much ever it cost.
Wow. So he just had everybody fooled.
Well, Mark had MS and he needed to raise money for that. I know he had a lot of problems, and he went down to what was it, Mexico?
Yeah.
To fix that issue, and I think he did. I don't know. I ain't heard much from him. But his group was over, I think, 7,000 at one time.
Yeah,
or higher.
Yeah, it was pretty high.
It was a big group. So word got around that I was going out doing stuff without a stupid bracelet, and Marlene took one of the bracelets, chopped them up, took a picture of it, and said, "That's your damn bracelet right there." And it was hilarious, man. Like, there's this woman over at Noonan. We were stocking the hospital where Beth died. And she got her to take it off, get another bracelet, and she chopped it up or whatever. I was not a part of that. I thought it was funny as shit, to be honest with you. But them people didn't take that too kindly. They were kind of pissed. And Marlene basically shook a waking giant. And next thing I know, we were getting death threats. Was one of the guys, he had a beard. I don't remember his name, but he threatened to rape my stepdaughter. It was bad.
Oh yeah.
We had to get the police involved. And when I'm saying that the Walking Dead fans were rabid, they kind of were. I mean, it was a fandom, and I think it still is a fandom based off jealousy.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. I've seen a lot of jealousy with, especially with you and Marlene and with others. People out there, like, how did they do this? It's not fair. Why did they get, I never understood why they were so jealous over it.
Well, me and Marlene, they don't understand that me and Marlene worked those tours forever.
Yeah.
We knew everybody. We knew, like, set guys and everything. And that's what people didn't understand. Like, we gave back to fans. We did. We gave back to fans every week. That's how I met Dustin. I mean, I took Dustin out. At the time, Rachel said something was wrong with Dustin. He's better now as far as I know. But he went out. He met the whole cast in one night. I introduced him to all of us, and Dustin started doing it. Melissa Dukes was hanging out with us at the time. And it was we just had a good time. And I never thought about, the repercussions of people being jealous like that, man. And it was pretty awful. I mean, you'd go to work and you didn't know who was going to show up that day at the tour. And it was like these threats were coming in from offline, and we had to call the police. It got really bad.
Oh, yeah. It's just at a time it just got really stupid with all the stalking, and that's when the time it started changing, even with the actor stopping, because you had fights with the fans, and it got crazy there for a while.
Man, I'm gonna tell you the funniest damn fight ever. Okay, you know how big Sean Gitek was, right?
Yeah.
He worked for a corrections department. He worked for the prison. His job was to bust heads and put them back in the prison cells. That's what his job was. Yeah. And I remember me and him were standing beside each other, and we were away from the group like I always was. And Sean was one of my good friends, so we were kind of hanging out. And the girl that, played Maggie, called us across the street. We went over there, got an autograph, come back. All of a sudden, we heard this screaming, and it was pretty loud. And this woman was just cussing Sean out and me out or whatever. And Sean's mama said something to him.
Yeah.
And Sean's mama's kind of tiny, And next thing I know, I seen Sean look up, and he's like, "What'd you say to my mama?" I'm like, just let that go. I stayed right where my ass was. He went down in there, and it's like, no, I'm not messing with that one.
Yeah, you let that one go, buddy.
No, he went down there, and he regulated, and I stayed where the hell I was.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't get in that one.
Yeah, that was a big old dude, man.
Yeah.
But, throughout the years, it's, it's been fun. Like I said, I'm glad I got the people I do, and even stuff that goes on now. I think I'm quiet to it, and everybody's like, "Why don't you come around anymore?" Well, hell, I went through the ringer, man. I literally like to stay in the background now. I'm still around,
yeah,
but not like I was at all. I don't think I'll ever be again. I was talking to a girl today, and she said, "Won't you come out and do stuff with us?" And I'm like, I like to have fun with it from afar. I don't like to be in front anymore.
Yeah.
So,
after all you went through, I don't blame you one bit.
Yeah, it was more than the one day. It was a lot. And then we had tits with them. We had tits with the group on locations. Okay. We had stuff with them when Marlene and Jamie wrote that book. We had some more stuff whenever that magazine came out featuring us, and we got shunned for that. It was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's more just people just jealous over what you guys were be able to accomplish, and you guys were just more or less, you were deep into the filming, the cast. The cast knew who you were, and this and that, and a lot of people didn't like that. They wanted that for themselves, and they were just pissed at you guys, and they didn't understand how you guys. They don't know the backstory of how you guys got involved in it, how it started for you, and a lot of people just pissed about it. You've seen that just in regular, autographing. You've seen that before.
Well, that's what the difference between Walking Dead autographing is and everything else. Everything else I kind of enjoy more than Walking Dead now. Walking Dead was just easy. Everything else, like when we do airports or wherever we do, is I just enjoy it more now. I don't have that over my head. It's more laid back, and I think that, now that the COVID stuff hit, I feel like I'm missing that part of my life. I really am.
Yeah.
And I miss.
I agree, because I'm not a big fan of doing all this, but you know why I do it. But it just, I kind of miss it too, because it was fun. Because a lot of people didn't understand why sometimes we just went to the airport. We just hung out with each other. Whatever happened, and it was a blast sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes we had info, and sometimes we didn't. We just kind of hung out.
Yeah.
And it was more or less to hang out with y'all. It was not to go up there and get anybody.
Yeah, because
it's like the night we got Clyde Drexler. He just kind of came around there. If it wouldn't have been for you, I wouldn't even recognize who the man was.
Yeah, but I won't take pictures with women.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention Shaq. That was kind of weird too when he wouldn't take pictures with the women.
Yeah, it just. Yeah, and the airport started changing too, and then, like you said, when you went to Tabernacle, it kind of changed. Remember, Tabernacle used to be pretty easy to do, and now it just. You think there's more people into the autograph game, stalking game there is than before?
It's not. It's not the people. It's how could I say this? It's not the number of people. It's the people that's doing it. People don't care about anybody anymore. It's like I used to help as many Walking Dead fans as I could get people. I met a story about that little girl that missed Andy Lincoln. I made sure she got him, and she stopped crying. It's like that, man. If I went up to Slash, and there's some other people there being asked before I got there, that's why he's being asked to me.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for anything I did. But there were some other guys ahead of me in that line that that had Funko Pops too.
Yeah.
That I think said some stuff to him. And that's what set him off about that. That's what I seriously think. Was it fair for him to do that to me? No. He was an ass. I don't like Guns N' Roses anymore.
Yeah.
But to say this, I can understand why he got upset.
Yeah.
I through the years, I've always, even in Atlanta, you keep a low profile until the celebrity comes out. You meet the celebrity halfway, see if they'll engage with you. If they don't engage, back off.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's always been. But there's certain people that will engage, and will not back off.
Oh yeah.
And I think they're starting to ruin it for other fans, especially like the whole Atlanta Braves thing right now. The Atlanta Braves thing is ridiculous. Like people don't understand. Like back 5 years ago, you go up to Turner Field and get all the autographs you wanted to. I think I walked away with 20, 30 autographs in one day one time. Now you don't even get close to the players. They even got a big kind of like a net, divides you from them.
Yeah.
And they park underneath the stadium, and it's a bunch of mess. And, the celebrity aspect of the conventions, Walker Stalker, they raised the price up so high. It's like a normal person that's got kids, and it's like a single mom. You have kids and everything. You want to have a nice weekend to go out and do something. Say, hey, this convention's in town. Let me go do this. I'll meet so-and-so from, let's say, Vampire Diaries. And you go up there and you try to get the autograph. Well, that autograph is going to cost you about $80 to $90. Yeah. The parking's going to be about $30. The food's going to be another $50. The convention fee is going to be everywhere from $30 to $100 and something.
Yeah.
So I'll just stay home. And I think that's what the problem is. It's like, I understand the celebrities got to make their money or whatever, but at the same time, it's like Kurtman said when he come down here, okay?
Yeah.
Kurtman did his signing when we all went to, and he charged $20.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked him why, basically that was a great price, man. We appreciate it. He said, man, I didn't want to take your kids' Christmas presents away because y'all wanted to come see me. And I think that's where it needs to get back to. I think that they lost perspective with this whole money train.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say who was dealing the money at Walker Stalker, but I remember there was a famous quote from somebody that come out of the money room at Walker Stalker. They felt like a drug lord because of all the money they were counting that day. Well, if you're starting to feel like a drug lord, obviously you need to calm it back a little bit, because just like what happened, they lost control of the money. They couldn't keep up with everything. It was too much expenses coming out, especially when you're going to London, Australia, stuff like that. There's expenses in there you probably can't account for.
Oh, it's just the prices are ridiculous. Even at some of the smaller cons now, it's going up. It's getting more and more expensive.
I think I'm going to start sticking with, I'm going to do Fandemic because it's a nostalgia thing whenever that thing comes back up. I'm going to do Comic-Con, and I'm going to do Days of the Dead, and I'll leave Dragon Con alone. I'll leave that for all the...
yeah. That's crazy.
If people like to dress up, no, I'd rather not. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one question we had was, who was your very first and your favorite Walking Dead cast member that you met, and they're still cool with you like a couple years later and stuff? Who's your number one?
The number one person I met was Lori Holden. That was the very first person I met. She came out. She talked to us. I had my kids with me. Keep in mind, my kids were real little at this point. She was playing with a dog. Me and Marlene was kind of skittish. We didn't even talk to her. We just kind of took a picture with her, backed off. It was the first time we ever met anybody on that cast set. And I remember leaving that cast set that day and was like, I can do like baseball with this shit, and it's right here.
Yeah.
And that's where it began. Now, as far as the person that if they see me, they kind of recognize me, because I don't think any of them know me. I think they recognize my face. I would say that would probably be probably Norman, because I've seen Norman so many damn times. I'll be honest with you. We used to be in the grocery store all the time when he was dating Cecilia, and we used to see Cecilia grocery shopping, and she used to talk to us for no apparent fucking reason.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, she was the underwear model he dated for a little while. The only thing she told us that was kind of funny was she goes, when Norman come home, he don't even take a bath. He just hops right in the bed and smears everywhere. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. She goes, yeah, he's just a mess.
Oh.
I think that's the one that recognized me the most. I mean, Andy, I adored Andy for a long time because he had that father figure going in the show. And to be honest with you, we don't see him anymore, so it's kind of non-existent. I never, old Scott, before he died, me and Greg Whaley, we had a falling out for a little while, and we planned a trip to South Georgia to Bainbridge, and Scott had like this thing down there where was talking about his film history, and Greg's like, "You want to ride with me down here to Bainbridge?" And I'm like, "Where the hell's Bainbridge at?" And he goes, "It's right near the Florida line." And I later dated a girl from down there, but at that time we drove down there. We got to the college. Scott had this thing that was just him for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And they talked about every movie Scott had did.
Damn.
And that man was awesome. I didn't realize that he done so much. You know what I realized though?
What's that?
He loved talking about other movies way more than The Walking Dead.
Wow.
He was excited we were talking about another movie that night. I never seen Scott giddy until we didn't bring up The Walking Dead that night.
Wow. Wow. He was a class act. I mean, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Because I can go back to when he'd had his sign-in at the Woodbury shop at one time, and we got there late, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And he still signed for my wife, even though someone didn't like it. But he still stopped and signed for her because we were late. He was cool about it.
You remember Kevin Wilson?
Yeah.
I let him go through there for me because he never met him. So instead of me going through there and getting my autograph, because I told him, I said, I've seen Scott all the time. Just take it down there and have it signed. Well, he had it signed, but it wasn't like I gave him 4 or 5 things. He got the one thing, and I'm like, dude, you could have got the other ones. He's like, I forgot. I'm like, dude, I can't do that no more. I can't do that no more.
See, that's what I always liked. I always liked the new, the first person they're meeting, somebody like they can't believe. I was like, oh my god. Even those certain people from Florida when they got to meet Andy. Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous that a grown man was crying, but it was pretty neat to see him actually get to meet someone that they admired, and it's like it's pretty cool. And that's when I started learning from you how you were doing it. It wasn't about you doing it. You were getting the satisfaction from helping other people and seeing the smiles on their faces and stuff. That's what I started learning from you how you were doing it, because you had the opportunity to meet almost everybody, and then after a while, it's like I seen you let someone go in front of you or 2 or 3 people go in front of you, you didn't get nothing, but you seem even more happier doing that.
I used to have tours. That 3:00 tour in Grantville, I was leaving at 4. So if they had little kids that day, I'd be like, look, I'm about to go out to filming. You want to follow me? And 90% of the time they would follow me to filming.
Yeah.
And that day I would get them to meet so-and-so. And it didn't matter who it was. And that's what impressed me the most about it, was like taking people out there that's never seen anybody. Terry, the cop from Alabama, he does the Birmingham games, that freaking little college out there called the Crimson Tide. I don't like.
Who? Well,
yeah, exactly. Anyway, Terry, he does Alabama games, and I think he's retired now. I'm not too sure, but we got Terry to go out there with us one day, and Brett Helmetsky, and Brett Helmetsky met this woman that he's married to now, but the girls are there, that her daughters, and they flipped out because they got to meet everybody. And me and Greg was sitting there on our chairs, because I used to bring this little easy chair with me, sit on the side of the road. And this is what I used to do, just to be honest. I would find the prettiest girl there that day. I would give her a sign that said, today's my birthday, and get her to hold that sign, okay?
Yeah.
No matter what happened that day, Josh McDermott was stopping. Yeah, I was like, me and Greg was sitting on the side of the road, and this girl was like bouncing up and down. I looked at Greg, I was like, it's kind of like Baywatch, ain't it? He goes, oh, yeah. But old Josh McDermott, you see him, just stop. I'm like, yep, he's stopping today.
Oh, that's
Every
funny.
time. If you
That's
didn't
it.
get nobody, Josh was stopping for a pretty girl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yep.
That's funny. Oh. Yeah, if you're out there listening, our phone lines are open right now. If you'd like to give us a call, be our first caller on the podcast. If not, we'll continue on and let everybody know we're still working on getting this thing to go live and work better and all that. This is only our third episode, and we're trying hard to get this thing to work. But if you have any suggestions, comments, or anything like that, just hit us up at we're on Twitter now. Or you can look us up on Twitter at the Dead Truth 3. That's our Twitter account. So if you want to look us up, I sent you the thing earlier. So don't look at me strange.
I ain't look at you.
Yeah, and if you have questions, suggestions, anything, please let us know because we're working hard to get this thing working better and make this more of a listener-oriented show where we're trying to get to the show to where you get to call in and talk about your favorite things about The Walking Dead, like your favorite cast member, who you met first, all that stuff. You can even call in and bitch about the con. We don't care.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, I kind of want them. I encourage them to call in.
Yeah.
And let me know the gripe they had about James. I really want to hear them.
Yeah. If you're out there listening, bring it on. Yeah. You know what? Maybe the next episode we'll do a bitch fest about the con. We'll just have
we can dress James up as the Hamburglar, where they have like strikes and everything. Hook it on up.
Yeah, that piece of he's a whole episode by himself. That piece of shit.
Like I said, man, I've never seen anybody get away with the stuff he did.
Yeah, and still getting away with it.
Yeah, he is paying back some of it. I mean, maybe a fifth of it, but it's amazing to me that he owes that people that much money.
Yeah. It's just like I said before, like with the first year of the con, he was more worried about the celebrities, and then when the cons kept going on, you notice they started having like his favorite TV show. People show up like Lost and what other show he was a big fan of, Santa Fe Anarchy,
Arrow.
It was like it was a con for him. He was using the money you're paying for a ticket to meet the celebrities that he wanted to meet. I mean, Lost. How many years ago did Lost go off the air and? Oh, let's bring them back. No one wanted to meet them. I mean, that show was long gone.
There's a couple of like secondary cast members.
Yeah.
That I heard complain that they were pretty much left out. The only ones that really mattered. I remember, what was it? I can't remember that dude's name. Remember that guy that y'all invited to Gwinnett?
Oh.
We did the Gwinnett Braves thing.
Yeah. Vincent Ward played Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah, Vincent. He said something in front of us one time. He said it's a damn shame. He goes, we got this thing started, and all of a sudden they don't need us no more.
Yeah.
He's like, they kind of just cut us loose, and all of a sudden when they started hurting again, guess who they called?
Yeah, they called them again.
The Death Con. They were there.
Yeah, because they had him, Lou, and some of the walkers too, like Moses and Melissa, and
the ones that they had shown, man.
Yeah,
the ones that.
See, I never understood why they went back after that.
I wouldn't have went back. He got so desperate they had old Ric Flair up there, man. Had nothing to do with The Walking Dead.
Oh,
yeah, had old Ric Flair.
Oh, my
Joe would have been happy as shit about Ric Flair. He'd be like, hell yeah, let's go to that table.
Oh, wow. Ric Flair 3 episodes in a row.
Oh, yeah, let's get him in there number 4.
Okay. Well,
hey, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my story Ric Flair over with, okay?
Okay.
So, I'm going to do this because Joel's had a couple. So, I'm standing in the airport. I'm waiting for Bobby Cox to come in because Bobby Cox went to the Hall of Fame. He was coming back. So I was sitting there waiting, and all of a sudden I heard somebody screaming. I mean, bloody murder.
Yeah.
And I look up, and Ric Flair's standing and yelling at his limo driver. So I walked over to Flair, and I noticed all these guys kept walking back doing the woo thing, right? Saying, woo, woo. And he's like, God damn it, y'all need to stop that shit. And I was like, oh, God, he's going to yell at me, but I got to do it anyway. And I was like, "Hey, man, can I get a picture with you?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." And he was happy. I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "All right, man." And when I left, he was happy and still yelling at that same old limo driver.
Was he sober?
No.
Okay.
He was toast.
Okay,
He was toast. He was. There ain't no such thing as actually sober.
No,
You know.
no,
No.
Rick wakes up drinking and goes to bed drinking.
When he was in Gwinnett Hospital, he probably had the sting going right into the IV. I think how he survived all that shit.
Yeah, I remember when he was throwing out the first pitch here at Gwinnett, and he had this lady with him. She was probably, I don't know, but she had this necklace on that said Cougar, and she looked older than him. And they both
she's always there. Yep.
And they both looked like they had already been to the bar for about 3 hours before they showed up to the game.
I think it's a little bit more than the bar,
yeah.
to be honest with
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's 16 times world champion. Woo!
Yeah. I mean, he's got to be doing something to not be in pain. I'll be honest with you. As much shit they went through in the 80s. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, because, another question I was going to ask you. Do you remember when Eric and James both got to be the walker in that episode? I forget what episode, the one where Abraham killed him, and they tried to keep it a secret, and, well, everybody already kind of knew what they were doing. How do you think they slide into that thing with AMC? Because AMC was still kind of pissed at him.
Well, it all falls back to Nicotero, man. The first podcast, well, the big podcast they did, they actually had Nicotero come in and do the podcast with them. That's how they actually started getting really big.
Yeah.
And I remember they did the Led Zeppelin and was talking about, can't remember the name, how they actually phrased it, but they sung Led Zeppelin and put Nicotero in there somehow. They kind of rearranged it.
Oh.
But yeah, because you got to keep in mind, like, I was around listening to that shit back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as this goes, I was one of the. I'm not going to call myself an original Walker Stalker because that would be, Cindy and Keith and Dean and Rebecca, Kim, all those. I was like this, I guess, 1.2 or 1.5.
Yeah.
I come in right after them, and I was like, we were one of the first people ever to go, hey, that's cool. And the reason why I said, hey, that's cool, because they filmed right there at school. Yeah. I mean, it was in my backyard. I literally kind of watched that. So, I don't know. My cousin Casey called me, and it was right when season 1 was airing. And he goes, man, you got to try to check this out. And I'm like, Casey, dude, I don't even like freaking zombies. He's like, just check it out. I said, all right. So I watched it. I'm like, hey, they're here. They're like here. They're filming that here.
Yeah.
And before I know it, Casey kind of created a monster. I became more than I ever thought about. And we went up to Morrow, and they had a book signing for Irony Singleton.
Yeah.
I want to say this was right before Michael Rooker got the gig for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
I remember he walked in there and he had a damn mohawk, and I'm like, what the fuck he got a mohawk for? Like, he walked in the front door, and I remember Trey was sitting there with us. He's my neighbor, and he's like, oh my God, y'all, it's Michael Rooker. And Michael Rooker snuck right in behind us. And it was me, Marlene, Trey, and old Homer. Remember Ninja?
Yeah.
Autograph Ninja?
Yep. Homer.
Oh, Homer, man. So we were sitting there, and Homer's doing his classic wiggle, man. He was jiggling and signing this and shit. And Mike had found this woman. Of course, Mike always does that because he loves women. Mike had found this woman. He told Homer, he's like, could you just chill out? You see I'm talking to a damn woman. Give me 5 minutes. And it was just funny as hell. And we came through the line, and he said, y'all need to hide me. That way Irony can't see me. We were like, okay. So we kind of hid him where Irony couldn't see him. And right when we were about to go up to the table, he got in front of us and surprised Irony. I think Marlene actually made a video of it to this day. I think it's still on YouTube. But anyway, they got up there, and because we did that for Mike, Mike was nice enough to stay and sign stuff for us, and was able to, we got all our stuff from Irony Free.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty cool. I remember that's the first day I ever seen Daquan. Remember Daquan and his wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first day we met them, because he's like, man, it was so cool. And I remember we got to hang out with them for a little while, and then I think the next day we invited Daquan to come down to Sonoya, and Dave was dressed up as a police officer like Rick.
Yeah.
And the police almost arrested his ass for impersonating the cop. It's like this, like he was one of the first ones ever to go down to Sonoya dressed up like Rick.
Oh, I remember
and
that.
Sonoya did not understand, like, that was, I don't understand what they should have known, but like you can't come dressed down here like a cop. You can't do that. I'm like, really? They allow that shit all the time now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here's a good question before we roll out of here. Talking about Sonoy police, when did you start seeing them start changing? How long did it take? Because at first they were, they used to be really cool about everything, and then it slowly started changing.
The boy's uncle, Travis, I guess his fiance, her brother is a cop there, okay? He's okay. He's not bad. But
yeah,
I was driving keep in mind, I lived in Sonoya. So I was driving with traffic one day with the studio. They were actually passing me. And the speed limit across the street from the Crook's Grocery, it goes from 45 down to 15.
Yeah.
And it goes back to 20. And it goes drastically. It's like a dip.
Yeah.
And they were passing me, dude, and they were flying. And I remember the cop pulled me over, and he goes, you know how fast you were going? I'm like, not as fast as them. He goes, well, they work for the studio. I'm not worried about them. I work for them. He said, you can't do that. Yeah. I was like, what in the hell? And he gave me a damn $200 ticket. Oh. I paid that $200 ticket. And, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was worried, man. Because I remember I went to Joni and Tim's, and I was like, Marley's going to fucking kill me. I was like, I got his ticket. And it was something else, man. Like, I was kind of baffled. I never had a cop tell me that before.
Yeah. Wow.
That it didn't matter about somebody else. It would just matter what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think the studio paid them pretty well. They were paying.
Probably.
Yeah. So we're about out of time here. Can you believe we're going on 45 minutes without a snafu in the live stream? That's pretty amazing for us.
Yeah.
So any idea what you want to talk about on episode 4?
We could talk about how we broke into the sound system. Oh. And we started hearing everything through the sound system. We could talk about that.
Yeah, we can.
We could talk about. Yeah, we could talk about fans trying to break into Alexandria. I can go on for days.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be a good episode because all that took place at Alexandria.
Yep, every bit of it.
Oh, well, okay, that's a good idea. And then, hey, I want to thank all 4 people who actually stayed and listened with us. Thank you very much. I know this is not the best quality yet. We're working on it, so give us a chance. And if you have any questions, you can hit us up the email. That is the Dead Truth Podcast at gmail.com, or hit us up on that Twitter thing. We're at the Dead Truth 3. I don't know why it gave us a 3. Someone else must have already had it, little bastards. But anyways, until tomorrow, we coming on tomorrow night, or you want to do? It's up to you.
Let's do Saturday night. That'd be kind of fun.
Okay. All right.
That good with you?
Yeah.
You ain't got no hot dates that night, do you?
No.
Holly's always want to go to the movies.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to go to movies when you got to wear a mask.
Hey, all man, right. You can go in there and breathe in that mask. You'll be all right. Your glasses get foggy. You'll be fine.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you guys.
Killed. How many people have you killed?
I'd like to have a calm discussion on this topic. You think we can manage that?
The world ended. Didn't you get the memo?
We ain't even having this conversation.
Hey, mister, you even know what's going on?
Come down here, let's have that talk.
Hey, you alive in there?
We got a mission too.
is keeping that man alive, getting him to Washington, and saving the whole damn world.